Hi, it's Jan Chakowski, and I'm back with my plans and pans. So, we went back to Washington last week, and we may be there for another 2 weeks. But what's pending right now is one of the most important things, that is, the government payments. But instead, what the Republicans have been doing is stalling and adding all kinds of what we call poison pills, things that really aren't helpful to people. In fact, are unhelpful to people, including voters. For example, one of the bills that they have say that if you have changed your name, say you're a woman who got married, the rule that they want to pass would not allow you to then go and get a birth certificate that would show it's really you, and then you could vote. That would not be allowed. So I guess then you would not be able to vote because the names didn't match. Well, obviously, we're not going to vote for that. So, what is the alternative to a shutdown of the government, which is a disaster? We would see that veterans wouldn't get their benefits. When it comes to Social Security, people's benefits would still arrive, but the Social Security Administration would be completely shut down, and on and on. Federal workers, many of them would be laid off. It can't happen. We can't have a government shutdown. It is too painful to our economy and to too many people. And so what we have to do is what we call a continuing resolution. In other words, kick the ball down the road some more, say that we won't have a shutdown, we will postpone when the finances have to be put into the budget. Republicans were unable to get a continuing resolution. In other words, they didn't have the votes to do it. So we are working with our colleagues to get an agreement to pass a budget that all of us can agree with. And I am hoping that that's going to happen in a reasonable time to avoid a shutdown. Also last week, I was in the health subcommittee, and I was talking to the Food and Drug Administration about the importance of my bill, or they can do it their own way, but to have on the front of food packages, not the back and not in tiny small print, that we have nutrition labeling. Well, the Food and Drug Administration actually agreed with that and began to come up with a rule. The unfortunate part of that is that there have been 4 delays now, several months before they have come around to put that as a rule that has to be on packages. So I went on the committee just to say, how come this has taken so long? They said, well, we think by next couple weeks we're going to be able to put out the rule. And one of the problems, and actually it is true, that the Food and Drug Administration, such an important body that helps keep our food safe, is underfunded. And they apparently just haven't had the staff. But I'm going to stay on them to make sure that a couple weeks doesn't slide by again, and that we actually have that kind of information right on the front of the packaging. I also participated when the Democratic Women's Caucus had a roundtable. It was led by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, and Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. And the topic, which is very disturbing, is called deep fake pornography. And that is a serious problem. And let me explain what that means. That means for particularly women, it could be a man too, where there's a picture of your face. It could be a child, it could be an adolescent girl, it could be anywhere. And then using your face puts out a pornographic something online. And so far, this has been a growing problem in our country. And you can imagine what kind of torture it can put whoever that person's face, whoever that person is, her face or his face used, how bad that is. We were also joined by actress and activist Sophia Bush and Amni Miranda Marton, who is the CEO of the Sexual Violence Prevention Association. And Sophia actually has experienced this, and it was a terrible experience for her. She has suffered through it, but she wanted to talk about what we are going to do. One of the things that is the problem is that technology companies, online companies, are making profits from putting this out there. And I couldn't agree with her more that we have to rein in big tech and not allow them to profit with putting this horrible information out for the world to see, this kind of pornography. So I am going to work with my colleagues, and that's really my committee that we work on, to make sure that big tech cannot do that anymore. I also have the pleasure of going to Crystal Lake, which is in the 9th Congressional District, and spent the day with State Representative Suzanne Ness. She is wonderful. I have met her several times when I have gone into that community. But we went to two very different and very wonderful organizations. One of them is the Northern Illinois Special Recreation Association. And what they do is provide every single day of the year wonderful different opportunities for people with disabilities, all different ages, young and old. And we got to see a number of young people who were playing a game. They were very much engaged. We saw some seniors who were there that were meeting together and able to have conversation and help if they needed it. It's really a terrific organization. It serves 13 communities, 4 of which are in the 9th Congressional District. So it was really terrific to see the work they're doing for people of all ages, and they are there for them all year round. And then we went to the Veterans Path to Hope. This is a service organization, and it is wonderful. They have 2 staff there who are pretty young guys who have been in the military and can help people from the military for the transition out of the military. That's where a lot of problems come in. Where can I get the job? Where can I get a home? And you know, there are far too many vets who end up committing suicide. It's really been kind of a pandemic that we've been looking at. But this is a place where people can just come and plop down and be with friends and play a card game, and also talk to the vets who work there. But the other thing that they do is they make sure or try very hard to get really good housing for them, housing that they can afford. And then they call out for all kinds of help to furnish those homes, to make sure that all the equipment that they need, all the furniture that they need is there. So there's lots of volunteer work in the community as well. They also try and help them to make sure that the veterans' benefits that they're supposed to get are coming on time. And so I said to the fabulous woman who operates Veterans Path to Hope, and said, call my office call the Shutdown office. We are experts at getting through red tape through the government. And if your vets need something quickly, or they need to get information about what they're supposed to be getting, or if there's been some delay, I want to help them. So we created a real partnership I'm very excited about, because our veterans deserve the best. And those who are having somewhat of a struggle, we want to be there. All of us want to be there in this great organization, and I want to help them to make it happen. So in a couple of days, I'll be back in Washington and hoping and working to be able to get a budget that we can approve, get the funding that we need to keep the government open. And I'll report back to you at my next Plans and Pans. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.